Anyway, let's start talking about things that have happened in the news. So, I'll just touch on the thing everyone wanted me to talk about coming in. See you, blue people. Good to see you again. Big Hungry's watching this stream. I bet he's going, yeah, those are the guys. So, Twitter, once again at the heart of all of societal woes. I did a tweet where I thought this was a simple tweet to understand, a very simple concept. And not even a controversial opinion. But let me just explain. So, couple of weeks, maybe more, time is meaningless right now. But anyway, so, you know, I get told stuff, and basically what I got told was that right now, even among high-level teams, there were CSGO pros that were kind of essentially saying the smart thing to do for us as NA pros is to basically not allocate all of our time to practice, and actually I want to be practicing Valorant because I believe I will have an opportunity over there to play professionally. And some players were legitimately, while being salaried to play CSGO by an organization, were essentially jumping across and having scrims, pugs, pickup games, queues, you know, whatever you want to call it, with other players who'd already moved to Valorant as like a trial with a view to moving into their team, which of course is not only hugely disrespectful to your organization, hugely disrespectful to your teammates, but it's also a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if I play for a team and I go, right, I'm going to ditch out on practice, guys. Like, I haven't got time. I hope you all understand. I'm going to ditch out on practice because I need to go play Valorant. Because, you know, if this team fails or if the org kicks us with the way things are going in NA, I need to be able to jump across to Valorant real quick. What you've done there is you've created a self-fulfilling prophecy, because by not giving it your all in one game, you have basically you know, enabled the failure that you were predicting, and you have essentially justified your behavior. Now, you'll notice, I'll read you the tweet. Let's start there. When you know many NA CSGO pros are dividing their time between practicing that game and Valorant, so they have an out, it's hard to respect them as competitors. Now, this doesn't say... Things it doesn't say is, it doesn't say don't protect your future. Definitely do that. It doesn't say don't think about your money. Definitely do that. It doesn't say people who are moving to Valorant are in some way bad. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say if you're moving to Valorant, you're a bad person, or you're shit at the game, you're washed up, you're a traitor. It doesn't say you should stay playing CSGO forever. It doesn't say you can't play any other games in your downtime. And obviously, guys who have followed me for a while know that when people attacked Bialy, when Virtus Pro were dropping off, which, by the way, we can talk about it now, it was all linked to huge personality problems and egos within that team. They argued all the time that it was factions, you know, Snacks and Bialy on one side, Taz and Neo on the other. Bialy and Snacks felt they were the young and up-and-comers who were carrying the old guys. The old guys were saying, we brought you in the team and you're only really relevant because of us and you've had a fantastic opportunity. And they went at it like cats and dogs. And it all came to a head after they won that dream hack in Vegas or wherever it was, and basically the owner who'd said, oh, if you win this tournament, I'll buy Taz a fucking Mercedes or a BMW, whatever fucking car it was, bought him, they won, and he bought him that car. And people, and this is no joke, it didn't piss off Neo, because Neo's like a really unassuming guy, but it certainly pissed off the likes of Bialy and the likes of Snacks. Now, that was the problem in that team. right? And everybody knows it behind the scenes. Everyone was talking about it, right? Openly, by the way. But one of the things that happened was when that team started coming off the rails, back when CSGO used to show your played game hours by default, people who do this for the purposes of betting, by the way, and are pieces of shit, and I'm glad Valve removed it, or at least made it optional, that in not the default setting, people would look at player profiles or infiltrate their way into looking at player profiles by adding them as friends or, you know, whatever, or they would be friends already and they would give the information to betting forums, and they would say how many hours people had played in other games, and they would use that to bet accordingly. Oh, they've not been practicing because, look, he's only got 5 hours this fortnight. Meanwhile, you know, they've got all these hours in these other games. And they did this to Bialy, and they said, Bialy has been spamming PUBG. It's all his fault. Fuck Bialy. He's killing the team. Now, he had more hours in CSGO. People ignored that. It was that he was deemed to have too many hours in PUBG. Whatever that amount means. And you'll remember, publicly, I came out and said, of course, he can play other games in his spare time, and he's got more CS hours, and they're clearly scrimming and clearly doing practice, because I hear from people all the time about how bad they are in practice. So why would you attack Bialy for playing PUBG? So I defended him, okay? So, remember what my tweet says, remember what it doesn't say, and what a sad, tragic indictment on the American education system that Ethan, who I believe, how old is he, like 24 or something, came out and said, are professional players of any game not allowed to enjoy other video games? 21? He's only 20. 20 or 21. Well, happy birthday. Now I'm going to rip your ass. So, 21 and a moron. 21 and incapable of basic reading comprehension. 21 and this is what is churned out from the American education system. I would be frankly embarrassed if this was my level of reading comprehension at that age. I would go so far as to say it is subnormal. It's not where you should be. And it's staggering. Now, also, there's other things at play, for sure. But maybe he's just having an episode and he's not even looked at the tweet, and he's assumed it's about him, which also, spoiler, it wasn't even about him. As I said, I had a bunch of stuff going on and had to push by the numbers back, and I won't get into that, but I was a little bit slow on the uptake. I'd heard Ethan was bouncing from Evil Geniuses. I didn't put it together with the whole Valorant rumor. That team behind the scenes, again, because I'll just say this because fuck them now. There's been rumors of, I consider them to be credible with other people, about Tarek and about Stan looking to move across as well, and the whole EG team's going to implode. So, just putting that out there, that's something that I'm not talking like forums are talking about that. I'm saying other NA players are talking about that. So, we'll wait and see, I guess. But anyway, so I haven't said that, and I don't believe that, and I've actively defended players in the past. But it does become a problem when and I didn't name Ethan, and I've not made any assumptions about Ethan or what he was doing practice-wise, but when for a fact from talking to people over in Valorant, and remember, how many people have moved from CS to Valorant? Tons. Do you think I keep in touch with them? Of course. Do you I've already broken stories about roster moves in Valorant, including 100 Thieves when they dropped their old roster. So the idea that I don't have contacts over there, it's like a million miles away. It's completely ridiculous and absurd. So yes, I still talk to people. I still hear all the things I would have heard good in Counter-Strike. It's just, I'm not going to trip over myself to go and report these things, because I just don't think that just doesn't interest me at this stage in my life. I'll let some little hungry journalist, some little Zoomer journalist who thinks roster moves are the shit because they haven't been chewed up by this shit industry yet, right? I'll let them go and get those stories. They're not of interest to me. So don't worry, your secrets are but safe. But the problem does become this insane reaction, this mad, from nowhere, negative reaction, really sort of is a bit like, ooh, the lady doth protest too much, because I was reacting to a tweet from Hazed, right? Another guy who went from CSGO to Valorant. I think, yeah, he's TSM. But I was reacting to a tweet from Hayes that I saw, primarily, because what he did was he was justifying the movement of all NA players, saying, I love CS, but TOs have pushed it away from NA. The players are doing what's best for them. With that being said, come on over, boys, woo. And so that's what I was replying to, which is why I specifically said NA pros to respond to his claim that it's all tournament organizers' fault. Now, NA has a bunch of problems. ESL definitely haven't helped. When do they ever help anyone but themselves? The problems in the second tier in North America, obviously rampant. That, you know, the fact that the MDL, formerly MDL league, is essentially just a farm for match fixing, is going to be a huge problem moving forward. But I just want to be clear on a few things here. It's not TOs that are to blame at all. In fact, Hazed couldn't hang in CS when NA had a CS scene. He was one of the early guys who fucked off. He went on that raft with, like, at the end of fucking Lord of the Rings when Gandalf and fucking Hiko and all the other washed up guys. No disrespect, Spencer. I just mean in CS. You are killing it in Valorant. You know, like, he just went across like that. We're off to the Greylands, you know, and so away they went. Yeah, and look, I'll just say this, and I love that if you're playing for Mythic, you're not a serious player anymore. Like, that's just the truth, innit? Like, I know they play seriously, but they also have no delusions of grandeur about where they are. It's just the truth, innit? So, anyway, why he is kind of implying, like, oh, all of us bloody NA players had to leave. Like, that didn't even apply to you. You were at the end of your career anyway, and it's a fine observation to make. And here's the reality. This is a systemic problem. This is why when I did my stream, where I was saying, I think I've lived, the quote on Reddit was, I think I've lived long enough to see competitive Counter-Strike kill itself, and everyone's telling me I'm wrong, and I'm not reading the portents and signs, and yet look at everything that's happening and tell me I don't have a point, but okay. This is a systemic issue. It starts at the top. It starts with Valve. Valve don't do anything to incentivize North American organizations having CS teams. North American organizations are lazy fucking bums. They want it on easy mode. They're not like Europeans. They think this is North American sports ball, where we get franchises and we get revenue shares. And, you know, it's going to be, I sell shirts and you get a cut of the shirts I sell, even though my org is more successful, because we all must make money. Everyone's got to make the money, and no relegations, and as little travel as possible, and you know, and that's how they think, right? They're not, and zero risks. If I recruit a roster and it's dog shit, hey, I can't get relegated, nothing to lose, I'll just trundle along with a dog shit roster until it's not dog shit and hope the fans stick around. They're unambitious, lazy bums who've got VC money, and they're just jerking off about how smart they are and thinking they're like the next fucking, I don't know, Jerry Jones or whatever. It's ridiculous. So those orgs want Valve to help them out, and Valve should help them out, and they should help out all fucking orgs, because why it's took this long to get in-game items for teams and orgs in Dota is ridiculous. That should be there from day one. But Valve don't believe orgs offer any value. Like, they haven't. They think you can take orgs out of the ecosystem and everyone's going to be fine. In their ideal world, it would go Valve, it would be Valve, tournament organizers, players entering tournaments without orgs, no salary, but because of all the perks and the money, they would still make loads of money. But that's completely unrealistic. These players won't get out of bed without a motherfucking salary. And the orgs can't afford to pay them a motherfucking salary in CS because there's no revenue opportunities in CS. The TOs are barely breaking even for the tournaments they run. That's with all the shady sponsors that they use and throw at them. Want to win skins? Like, that's just a commercial that you're just going to see on a CS broadcast, right? So there is the economic pyramid is completely fucked up. It's 7 ways of fucked up. And it starts with Valve, and it starts with TOs. It filters down to TOs, and it definitely filters down to orgs. And it's the orgs that have essentially betrayed the players, because they have said, we cannot pay the salaries you want and keep a team around because we don't think this esport is ever going to give us economic opportunities. Meanwhile, they go, and I'm sick of hearing about, oh, you make less in Valorant. Only if you were at the very top of CS and you moved across, and this is the first player we've even had in CS that's kind of analogous to Sinatra, and even then, not so much. I know Ethan was a top 20 player one year, but it's not like he was the MVP of the whole league. So when those players move across, unless you're at the very top of CS, you're going to get more value than you would in Valorant than you would in NA CS. That's a fact. But what the NA players want you to believe is that everyone's taking a pay cut to go to Valorant, which of course is bullshit. They're lying, because NA players generally are fucking, they don't have any love for the game. Not like true passionate love. When presented a series of options, one is the easiest that makes them money, right? How many times have you seen a pro player in Europe ditch out on playing in a team to go and stream instead because the stream makes them more money? It's very rare you see it go the other way, and it's very rare you see that at all in Europe, right? So this is a problem at the heart of NA, and the temptation, the Faustian pact in the room, the devil is there on their shoulder every day. Just come to Valorant. Just come to Valorant. Ha 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 ha. It is easier here. I don't know why I'm sound like one of the pandas out of WoW. I can't even do a devil voice anymore. I played that much WoW. So anyway, they jump. So now that they've got a fucking soft option, they jump across, and that's fine. By the way, as I said, get your bread, but let's not lay it all on the doorstep of TOs, because that's complete fucking bullshit. That's bullshit. Valve are a problem. TOs are a problem. Orgs are a problem. Players are a problem. There are so many problems, and this is why we're not going to have North America and Counter-Strike anymore. And the big question becomes, can Counter-Strike survive globally if we completely remove North America from the equation and we don't make good penetration into Asian markets? If we don't make that penetration into Asian markets soon to offset the loss we're going to get from the marketing budget that NA generates, the largest in esports, we have problems in the esports scene. And all the viewership numbers in the world aren't going to change that. Actually, just on the subject of viewer numbers, Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, the viewership halved, more than halved. It was 1 million last year with Na'Vi and who was it they beat in the final? Was it Astralis? And now Virtus Pro and Gambit come along, and it was like 417,000. G2, my bad. Sorry, I'm getting old. As everyone on Twitter tells me, fucking hell, he's in his 30s. He's a grandpa. I'm 15. And play Call of Duty. Brilliant. So anyway, that was like 1 million, right? And this was like 400. And people went, oh yeah, but it's Virtus Pro and Gambit. What do you expect? Well, my friends, let's hope then that there is never a seismic shift in the hierarchical structure of the orgs, because if viewership is dependent not on the games being good, but on the popularity of legacy organizations, we've got real big fucking problems, and those problems will apply in Europe. Because right now, one of the things, perception-wise, that keeps CS upright is its huge viewership. If the CIS teams take over and none of the, quote, big teams are making it into finals, making it into the late stages of tournaments, the hit to viewership will set off a cascade like you will not believe. Sponsors will pull out, and all of a sudden, just like I was saying, we're looking at Brood War. But anyway, it wasn't a doom and gloom stream. That isn't what I want to talk about. Let's get back to what Ethan was saying. So, I have no issue with NA players right now dabbling in Valorant, keeping their hand in, do what you gotta do. But I'm just gonna put this motherfucker on blast because I've had to deal with idiots replying to a tweet angrily over something it didn't say because they are children following someone they think is a role model when you yourself are barely literate. So I just want to... I made a couple of tweets. And people replied to them. And we're going, yeah, this isn't fair. Right? So, this was one. I said, I can't... Because he got super upset by what he saw as being about him. Now, as I just said, it was about Hayes. Maybe Hayes' tweet was about Ethan. And so you end up with, again, like this, well, what came first? But I'm not talking about Ethan. I had no desire to engage Ethan or disparage Ethan or any of that stuff. The fact that he objected to it just shows that he's got a guilty conscience or some shit. That's like basic psychology. I don't know why he would cop to that. It's so ridiculous. He even agreed with me during a little back and forth that we had on Twitter. So I don't even understand what he was angry about. Thanks for the oil, Zarathenia. Good to see you back. But, just look, right? So, for all the Zoomer morons, he agrees with me. Here it is. I was the guy who defended Bialy, and I said, motivations matter. Do you disagree? And he went, no, 100%. If you're grinding the game because you want to switch, you should switch because you don't deserve to compete at the level you're getting paid to play at. Ding, 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 ding. We got there. Woohoo! Right. You finally, that was the point of the tweet before you fucking shit your knickers. Right? So, I said, why are you arguing? And he says, from your tweet, it seems as if you are 100% sure these pros are practicing the game so they have an out instead of maybe just enjoying it in the free time. Literally didn't say free time. Said pros. Practice. It's got nothing to do with what you do in your free time. I don't give a fuck about your free time. I don't care. We'll do whatever the fuck you want. I'm sure it's really fucking mundane and dull. You're the kind of people, by the way, who log out from a hard day of practice and go, oh, fucking hell, it's so hard being an esports star. Oh, 8 hours of playing CS. Bloody unreasonable, that. Right then, who wants to play FPL? You guys are fucking, you only know how to do one thing. It's shoot heads, and that's fine. But, you're talking to someone who's not an idiot. So, there's going to be friction there, isn't there? I'm not like you. I have real-world transferable skills. You play a video game. It's like, come on, stop. So anyway, it pissed me off because it's just like, why? Why would you do that, right? And so I just want to make it abundantly clear how fucking bad EG have been. And in particular, the drop-off in Ethan, who was a star player, former top 20 player, right? And EG, there was serious talk about them being dropped at the end of the year, right? But then what they said is, actually, no, we've got Zeus, we've just signed him. We're going to go to Europe and we're going to enter these tournaments and we're going to win. And they had like a 40, 50 day period to work on all of their stuff, and Stan and Zeus could get in the lab and they could come up with shit. And EG have been absolute dog shit. They've been absolute dog shit. The end, no discussion. This was they were like, what, third in the world? coming out at the end of 2019, I want to say. Certainly, they were a solid top 10 team for a significant portion of 2020, and then they fell off a motherfucking cliff. And when you've got a 40, 50-day boot camp, do something. Show me a different team. Show me some tactics. I'm always hearing about how Stan's a great IGL. Always hearing about how, Zeus is a great coach. I don't even blame him for this mess. But show me something. But no, you turned up, you played, you were bad. You had one moment where you basically beat, what was it, at a blast. You had a run where you made it to the finals before Complexity fucking spanked you. And that's that. And that's all we've had to talk about in the last 6-7 months. So I just made this point. Don't fucking come at me about, how you're just playing in your spare time and you're fully dedicated to CS and you're grinding and you're doing so well. When your fucking stats are this. This is your level of performance. From January 20, up, oh my me, to falling off a cliff and being at an all-time career low, right? You're literally tweeting at me about how dedicated you are to the game and how I shouldn't have an opinion about what pros are doing, right? When that's where you're at. Now, incredibly, everyone on EG has had a similar dip, and people made that point, but I don't expect high stats from Tarek or fucking Stan. Breezy hasn't, by the way. Cirque has, but regardless, you were a top 20 player. That's where you're at now. And so we get to the narrative, the conceit that I'm supposed to believe and you're supposed to believe. And I will be repeating this bit in BTN almost verbatim. But spoiler, I know some of you won't watch that and then you'll cry that it takes me 4 or 5 days to edit the VOD when it really doesn't take 4 or 5 days. I just delay putting it out and actually derive pleasure in hearing you fucking whine about it, because half of you cunts who whine contribute absolutely nothing to the existence of the show besides being a YouTube click with ad block, you fucking bellends. But anyway, that's your level of performance, and here's the conceit that I'm supposed to believe from Ethan, and that is 100 Thieves decided to just sign him. He's never practiced the game. He just plays it in his spare time. And 100 Thieves, a serious organisation, one of the best in Valorant, has just decided hey, why don't we just randomly pick up Ethan? I hear he plays it in his spare time. Do you think we're fucking as stupid as you with your inability to read a tweet? Do you think everyone is operating on that level in life? Because I sure as fuck ain't. And I'm legitimately, biologically, although it would still be a bit weird, I'm legitimately old enough to be your dad. So shut the fuck up and listen for 5 minutes, right? There is no way on God's green earth that you have not been practicing Valorant and you're getting signed to a top tier org. There's just no way. No one would take that risk or that liability just based on your reputation alone, especially when that is your level of performance. And when you combine level of performance over a, what do you know, couple of month period, your absolutely diabolical runs at Blast, all the rumours flying around about your team, which I'm being told from other people that play with you guys on the fucking reg, by the way, because everyone likes to tell me your shit. No pro player has a secret from me if I want to find the fuck out about it, and that should be abundantly clear after 15 years of doing what I do. But you want everyone to believe that you've never touched the game in a serious capacity and you've just been signed to a nice fat contract and 100 Thieves. Pull the fucking other one. It's got bells on, mate. It's got bells on. And what a fucking outrageous insult to all the kids that are just going to blindly follow your bullshit. And what an outrageous insult to the EG fans and all of that. Just fucking fess up. You wanted out. We all knew that your team was on its last fucking warning and you had to go and perform. They were already talking about pulling out. It was already reported by other people who weren't me. We all knew what was going on. You were basically on your last legs as a team and you were the cunt that jumped ship first. So just own your bullshit. And it's nice, by the way, because you can see We're breaking the programming. You can see I was about to criticize 100 Thieves for signing a big player without even trying him out at a new game. But before I did, it clicked for me. Yeah, all you have to do is just look at the facts. That's it. You don't even need to it's not even that hard to piece together. What org would fucking sign somebody who's never played the game seriously? It's not the early days anymore. Valorant's been out for a year. We're already talking about what's going to happen. We got a LAN coming up. Might get into that in a second. Valorant's going to be a legit thing. It's real. We all know. Nobody is rolling the dice on a player that's never played the fucking game. No one anymore. It would be absolutely irresponsible of an organization to do that. So just shut the fuck up, mate. You have to understand, I'm not a 15-year-old idiot who thinks your farts smell like fucking roses. I'm a fucking grown man and an investigative journalist who's seen more fucking shit than you could ever comprehend. So I know when you're fucking lying to my face. And the mad part is, mate, you could have just let this one ride, but you had to fucking tweet at me because you thought my tweet was about you because you're a fucking shallow, egotistical narcissist like a lot of North American players who thinks the world is all about them. Grow the fuck up. Right. There's that handled. Now, other drama on Twitter. Because it's all that Twitter is good for. And I want to say, when you've got pathetic, petulant drama like that, like North American CSGO players, how dare you? How dare you tweet about me when it's not about me, but it must be about me, because everything's about me. Haven't you seen the news today? I've jumped across me. You're just another fucking bare bum in the shower over there, you sad cunt. Basically, anyone boasting about being a former CSGO pro switching to Valorant, that's like saying, you know what I mean? I used to be a fucking Formula 1 driver, now I've got a fucking golf buggy. What the fuck are you doing? Just shut the fuck up. We all get it. Go quietly. Like, Christ.